The Witch is the latest horror movie critical darling to hit theaters, but follows a very different path than other recent scary movies like The Babadook or It Follows. And while it's very possible to read a lot of metaphor into this movie, a la those other two, or even other well-known witch stories like Rosemary's Baby or The Crucible, The Witch is played much more straight than either of those. It's the simple story of a family in the wrong place at the wrong time, and there's an honest-to-goodness, Satan-worshipping, baby-eating witch in the woods. Our story concerns a New England pilgrim family being exiled from their village because the gravelly-voiced patriarch William, played by Ralph Ineson, is too pious even for Puritans, and he, his wife Catherine, his budding eldest daughter Thomason, played by the doe-eyed Anna Taylor-Joy, her younger brother Caleb, their younger twins, and the newborn start a small homestead on the edge of the woods. The local witch stealing and brutalizing the baby is only the start of their troubles, as the witch slowly tears this family apart. The crops won't grow, each member starts accusing one another of damning their family, and the twins believe that the family's goat, Black Phillip, is talking to them. There's a lot to unpack between the family. William's inability to provide, Catherine's homesickness, Caleb's sexual confusion towards his sister, and the general fear of sex and overwhelming guilt that comes with Puritanism, and is especially hard on Thomason. But while other stories might run entirely on the fuel of those metaphors, The Witch derives almost all of its dread from the horror of being isolated in the woods and preyed upon by a witch. These characters aren't afraid because their religion has made them unfit to cope with the changing world. They're afraid because all of their deeply held beliefs happen to be completely true, and there really is a witch in their woods. And as silly as a simple ghost story might appear in today's postmodern world, The Witch completely sells that literal fear of facing an omnipresent, demonically powered servant of Satan. Dread really is the aesthetic this movie is sold on, and it builds it perfectly. A slow burn of lingering shots of impenetrable walls of trees, natural or candlelit spaces, and background obscuring close-ups will drive you to check between every branch and under every shadow for the presence of the witch. In place of jump scares, The Witch trades on tension and anticipation, and because of that, the few omens that the film does give you, including a bunny of all things, are as effective at making your heart skip a beat as a door slamming would be in every other horror movie. There are no sudden movements, or surprise cuts, or scare chords, just very deliberately creeping cinematography and audio production that slowly draws out all the fear we have of being alone in the woods. And yet, I can totally understand how The Witch is not a film for everybody, not even all diehard horror fans. This is not a movie that tells you when to be afraid or when to brace for impact. It's not a movie that tries to catch you off guard or trick you into being scared of it. The Witch asks you to be afraid because it's stuck this family in a spooky woods, because they're scared and alone, and because they're doomed. And if you're on this movie's wavelength, that in and of itself is the most terrifying thing in the world.